was 22, working security at an old office building downtown, and my supervisor told me something on my first night that I brushed off as a joke. He said the building doesn't like being alone. The place had 11 floors, and by 10 p.m., it was just me and a mop bucket somebody left in the third floor hallway that never seemed to move no matter how many times I walked past it. Weekdays were fine. Phones ringing somewhere in the distance, the hum of the elevators, the occasional cleaning crew finishing up on the lower floors. I do my rounds, check my little clipboard, sit at the front desk, and watch bad TV on my phone. Nothing to it. That's what I told myself anyway. Third weekend, everything changed on a Tuesday. I remember it was a Tuesday because Tuesdays were trash pickup, and I'd gotten used to hearing the truck outside around 11. That night the truck came and went like always, and maybe 20 minutes later I heard footsteps on the fourth floor. Now here's the thing. I was the only one in the building. I'd locked every door myself at 9. The cleaning crew left at 8:30. I watched them sign out. So when I heard footsteps, slow ones, deliberate ones, coming from directly above the lobby, my stomach just dropped straight through the floor. I sat there for a second, not breathing. Told myself it was pipe settling. Old buildings do that, right? But pipes don't walk in a straight line and then stop. I grabbed my flashlight because that's what you do. You grab the flashlight, even though logically a flashlight isn't going to help you against whatever's up there. I took the stairs instead of the elevator. Don't ask me why. I think some part of me didn't want to be trapped in a metal box if something was wrong. Each step up felt louder than it should have been. My own breathing sounded like it was coming from somewhere else. Fourth floor door was propped open. I never propped that door open. I know I didn't, because propping doors open was a right-up offense, and I was not about to lose this job over a door. I stood in that hallway with my flashlight shaking in my hand, and I called out, said hello security, like an idiot. Like whatever was up there was going to answer politely and explain itself. Nothing, just this thick kind of silence. The kind where you can hear your own pulse in your ears. Then I heard it again. Footsteps. But now they were behind me. Not ahead. Behind me. I spun around so fast I nearly dropped the flashlight, and the hallway was empty. Completely empty. Just rows of cubicles with their little nameplates and family photos nobody bothered to take home. And that fluorescent light at the far end that always flickered no matter how many times maintenance replaced the ballast. I didn't check the rest of that floor. I'm not ashamed to say it. I went straight back down those stairs 2 at a time and sat at the front desk until sunrise with every light in the lobby on. I told my supervisor the next day, expecting him to laugh at me, tell me it was the building settling or an old fax system doing weird things. Instead, he just nodded slowly and said the fourth floor used to be a different company before the current tenants moved in. A woman had a heart attack at her desk up there back in the 90s. Wasn't found until the next morning by the cleaning crew. I wanted to quit right then. But rent doesn't pay itself, and this job paid better than anywhere else that was hiring, so I stayed. Big mistake, looking back. Over the next few weeks it kept happening. Never every night, it was almost worse somehow, because you never knew which nights were the bad ones. Sometimes it was just the footsteps, sometimes it was the elevator, which would ding and open on the fourth floor, even though nobody had called it there. I'd watched the little numbers light up from the lobby. 4, then nothing, then it come back down empty. One night I actually got in the elevator and rode it up myself, just to prove to myself there was nothing there. Halfway up, the lights flickered off. Not the emergency ones. Everything. Total darkness. And the elevator just stopped between floors. I stood there in the pitch black for what felt like 10 minutes, but was probably closer to 90 seconds. And I heard breathing. Not mine. Slow. Wet. Like someone struggling to get air in. When the lights came back on, I was alone. Elevator started moving again like nothing happened. I got off on the next floor and took the stairs the rest of the way down. Didn't matter which floor, I just needed to be moving. Here's the part that really got under my skin though. About 2 months into the job, I started finding things moved. Small things. A stapler that was always on the left side of the reception desk would be on the right. The mop bucket that never moved would suddenly be 3 feet from where it always sat. And one night, the coffee maker in the break room was on, brewing, at 2 in the morning, in a building where I was supposedly the only living person. I stood in that doorway, just watching the little red light, listening to it gurgle and drip, and I couldn't make myself go in there and unplug it. I just closed the door and went back to the desk and pretended I hadn't seen it. My coworker who did weekend nights, a guy named Marcus, told me he'd had similar stuff happen, but way worse. Said one night he heard someone typing on a keyboard, full sentences worth of typing, up on the 4th floor. She went to check it out, found every computer powered off like they were supposed to be, except one screen was still warm to the touch. We used to joke that whoever she was, she just didn't know her shift ended. The last night I worked there was in October, and I want to be honest, I still don't fully understand what happened that night. Around 1 a.m., every phone in the building started ringing at once. Not one line, not two. Every single desk phone on every floor, all ringing, in this awful chorus that echoed down the stairwells. I sat frozen at the desk because there was no way, physically no way, for that to happen, unless someone was calling every extension simultaneously, which our system couldn't even do. I didn't answer any of them. I just sat there and let it ring, until it stopped all at once, like someone had cut the power to the whole phone system in 1 second. Then, dead silence. And in that silence I heard, clear as anything, a woman's voice from the stairwell say, "Still working?" I didn't clock out that night. I didn't even grab my jacket from the break room. I left my keys on the desk and walked straight out the front door and never went back, not even to collect my last paycheck, which honestly still bothers me a little because it wasn't a small amount of money. I looked into it afterward, tried to find out more about the woman who died up there, and there wasn't much online, just an old obituary and a name. I'm not going to say the name here because it feels wrong somehow, like saying it might invite something. To this day, I don't take night shifts. Any job that requires it, I just say no. Doesn't matter what the pay is. People ask me why, and I usually just say I don't like being alone at night, which is true, just not the whole truth. Sometimes I wonder if she's still up there on the 4th floor, still answering phones that don't ring for anyone else, still making her coffee at 2 in the morning. Whether the building got new tenants, new security guards who don't know what happened, who think the flickering light is just bad wiring. Maybe it is just bad wiring. I'd like to believe that. But I know what I heard in that stairwell, and I know that elevator stopped on its own, and I know that coffee maker was never plugged into a timer. I still think about that mop bucket sometimes. The way it never moved for weeks, and then one night, it just wasn't where it was supposed to be. Small thing, I know, but it's the small things that stick with you the longest.